Welcome to Destination Dive. I'm Jennifer Gray. We have made it to the last stop in the Keys, Key West, the pulse of the Keys, known for its nightlife and history above water, but the underwater world can be just as lively. From the beautiful, resilient coral reefs to the crown jewel of the Keys, the USS Vandenberg. Key West has something for every diver. So while you're soaking up the energy in Key West, don't miss its other side, a captivating world that lies beneath the surface.
You know, people call shipwrecks time capsules, and well, they literally are, because they represent a day. I mean, a moment in time. The ship sinks on a certain day, and everything in it, on it, and the ship itself is frozen in time on the sea floor.
Nestled beneath the shimmering turquoise waters of the Florida Keys lies a hidden treasure trove, not made with much gold or jewels anymore, but of rich history. The roughly 1,000 shipwrecks scattered across the Keys tell stories of adventure, tragedy, and the passage of time. No other place on Earth offers the unique opportunity to dive and explore so many wrecks in such close proximity.
Here in the Keys, if you're doing the wreck trek, you can dive literally on a Spanish galleon, or you can dive on a shipwreck from World War II or the Cold War era. I mean, it's just centuries of history on the seafloor here.
Over the centuries, countless vessels have met their fates here. Some due to stormy weather, some because of navigation errors, and others due to the unforgiving nature of the reefs themselves. They offer a glimpse into the past and the challenges crews faced while navigating one of the most dangerous stretches of water in the world.
The Florida Keys is what's known as a ship trap, right? And that's because you have the reef that runs the entire length of the Keys from all the way out to the Dry Tortugas, 70 miles west of Key West here, all the way up to Miami, basically. Ships would run onto that reef. It's very shallow, lurking right below the sea surface, and you know, whether through a hurricane or just, you know, misnavigation, would run onto the reef and sink.
The combination of these wrecks in a relatively small area creates a unique underwater museum where divers can move from one wreck to the next, exploring ships from different eras and learning about the region's maritime history in a single dive trip.
You're looking at, on a shipwreck site, you know, the dishes that people ate off of, and you know, the medicines they used, and just all those different things that feed into what was a small shipboard community, you know, floating at sea, and all the things it took to sustain those people as they traveled across the ocean. It's just a wonderful look at life that I don't think you really get anywhere else.
Each dive here is a step back in time. The wrecks tell stories of the bravery and resilience of those who sailed them, and how the Florida Keys have been both a gateway and a graveyard for ships dating back to the 1500s.
And so whether it is a Spanish galleon that was carrying treasure, whether it was a slave ship that was bringing people for the darkest purposes possible across the ocean, or whether it was just carrying phosphate in the middle of the night. These ships all tell some aspect of their time.
Though they no longer serve as vessels of commerce or war, they, along with wrecks like the USS Vandenberg that were intentionally sunk, all continue to serve a new purpose, a vital habitat for marine life and a crucial reminder of our connection to the sea.
Ships like the Adolphus Bush and other purposefully sunk vessels, that's done with the intent that these things will take pressure off of the natural reef, all right? And they'll draw people to this structure. That structure will certainly, we see it again and again on all of the purposefully sunk vessels, that fish come and colonize them, other marine life colonizes them, and they become artificial reefs.
The shipwrecks of the Florida Keys are more than just submerged relics. They are the heartbeats of this unique place. So if you're a diver, there's no place on Earth like the Florida Keys where you can dive through centuries of maritime history in such a concentrated and awe-inspiring way.
I think that's the thing about all of these shipwreck sites, is they ultimately are about people and what people were doing at that time, and why was it important for this ship to be sailing? What was it doing? How did the people live their lives? And you know, what were their goals and their hopes and their dreams? And those things are in some ways held and reflected in these shipwrecks.
Coming up, we'll explore some of these amazing wrecks, including the crown jewel of Key West, the Vandenberg. And later, artificial reefs have been sunk all over the Keys for decades. See the newest projects scientists are working on in their trailblazing work involving artificial reefs. Welcome back to Destination Dive. No dive trip to the Keys would be complete without visiting the General Hoyt S. Vandenberg, the crown jewel of the Keys, and the wreck that put Key West on the dive map.
The Vandenberg in Key West, and it's this massive, when I say massive, it's taller than the Statue of Liberty. So if you're not real keen on going real deep, you don't have to. You can stay at the top of the Vandenberg at 65, 70 feet and still not see all of it.
The Vandenberg was built in the 1940s as a military troop transport vessel during World War II, and later a missile tracking ship during the Cold War.
It was originally built in World War II as a troop carrier, and it was named the General Harry S. Taylor. And it provided supplies and American soldiers to the European theater during World War II. I believe that it was on its way to the Pacific theater when they dropped the bomb.
A ship that once sailed during some of the most turbulent years of the 20th century now lies at the heart of Florida's underwater world. It was intentionally sunk in 2009 without a hitch, and now rests upright on the ocean floor, a bucket list dive for any diver visiting the Keys. Over the years, the Vandenberg has become more than just a relic of war. It's a thriving, vibrant underwater ecosystem. Coral reefs have begun to take root, algae cling to its rusted surface, and the ship's steel frame provides shelter for countless fish and critters. As divers descend, they're greeted not only by the ghost of a bygone era, but by the pulse of life that has blossomed around it.
There's resident barracudas, there's octopus on the wreck. Just anything that you're going to find on the reef, you're going to find on the Vandenberg. It's one of the world's largest artificial reefs that's ever, and in my opinion, it's the best wreck dive on the eastern coast of the United States.
While the Vandenberg might take the top spot as a dive site in Key West, there are other wrecks that shouldn't be overlooked.
The Cayman Salvage Master is off Key West, and it was a ship that it had been used in the Mariel boat lift in 1980 and had been used to transport Cubans who wanted to leave Cuba, get away from there, here to the Florida Keys.
The Cayman Salvage Master made numerous trips to help save lives, acting as both a symbol of hope and a lifeline for those desperate to escape Cuba.
It was a very big historical moment and a huge story in really South Florida history. And so, you can see this spectacular ship on the sea floor.
The Cayman Salvage Master lives on. Its once bright machinery and decks are now home to endless coral and marine life. Schools of fish swim through its rusted hulls, and vibrant coral reefs have taken root in the very spaces where it once carried refugees to freedom.
I love diving the Cayman. Plus, it's easy. It's an easy dive. We don't get a lot of current on it. Tops out at about 95 feet to the sand. You can actually swim underneath the rudder, which is one of my favorite things to do with it.
And if you're looking for an easier wreck dive in Key West, seek out Joe's Tug. The 75-foot shrimp boat sits in just 65 feet of water, 7 miles off Key West. Although it's been battered by hurricanes over the years, Joe's Tug is a treasure in Key West. With a home underwater since the late 80s, the wreck offers so much diversity in life, it's a must-see.
Just the diving of the wreck itself is incredible, and you feel so small and everything, but what you don't realize is that these wrecks actually play a very important role to protect our reefs.
Coming up, see what scientists are doing to transform the ocean bottom into living, thriving ecosystems using concrete. Welcome back to Destination Dive. Artificial reefs have been around for decades, if not centuries. From the mighty Vandenberg in Key West to sunken wooden vessels and anchors, these artificial reefs have proven to not only create a safe haven for countless marine species, but they take pressure off the natural reef, which has been in decline. Now, a new program is taking artificial reefs to the next level by using concrete.
Our first artificial reef deployment was actually a project out in the Gulf of Mexico, about 16 nautical miles northeast of Key West. And we started with deploying concrete poles. And so it was about 37, 55 feet hollow concrete power poles, and another 8 that were 35 feet long and solid. And so the idea was to create 3 patch reefs where the poles are stacked sort of perpendicular in layers to achieve vertical relief, because we know vertical relief supports greater fish abundance and diversity.
The first artificial reef was deployed, and within a matter of days, there were already fish congregating on the poles, a win-win for the artificial reef program.
We're super thrilled with what we saw only a few days later, which there were cobia on it and lots of small schools of fish. And so it was a really positive sign.
With a decline in our natural reef system, there has been a race against time to repair those reefs. Organizations are quickly growing and planting corals on our natural reefs. Artificial reefs are one more tool that can help our oceans thrive, especially in areas facing significant environmental challenges.
We want to provide ecosystem and economic benefits. And from an ecosystem perspective, we want to provide long-term, stable, quality habitat to marine life. So that includes fish and a variety of invertebrate species. And from an economic perspective, we want to support the fishing and diving and tourism industries to make sure we're providing opportunities for everyone that lives here or visits.
The hope is that these concrete structures will be able to withstand the test of time, from hurricanes to climate change and human stresses.
We want to make sure we're using sustainable materials that are going to last decades, if not centuries. They're going to be stable, they're going to withstand the hurricanes that we get down here, and they're going to support processes like settlement and interactions with other organisms so that they provide a healthy environment.
These structures will be strategically placed along the seafloor, acting as waypoints for fish migrating from near to offshore locations, from the Gulf to the Atlantic.
We don't want to just put these structures out. We want to actually learn from them. We want to study them. We want to evaluate the long-term outcomes, both from an environmental and economic and social perspective. So we want to see what benefits that these structures provide to different organisms, different species, and really look at the sort of net outcome of these structures.
As these structures continue to attract fish, divers, and fishermen, the hope for this program is that it helps the health of our oceans and the millions who rely on the oceans for food, income, and recreation.
The more complex habitat you have, the greater biodiversity it can support. And so what we really want to do is think about the ecosystem, the organisms that are going to be interacting with these structures, and try to provide as many different shapes and sizes of spaces that the variety of organisms can use, but also make it so that it's visually interesting for divers. If that is one of the locations where these structures will be deployed, is somewhere that divers can access it, as well as fishermen as well. So we want to think about how the structures might impact interactions with anglers.
Coming up, From the artificial to the natural, we will take you to some of the most beautiful reefs in Key West, ones that seem to be thriving even in the daunting face of climate change. Welcome back to Destination Dive. At the southernmost point of the United States is where you will find Key West, Florida. Known for its vibrant culture and breathtaking sunsets, it's also home to one of the most important marine ecosystems in the world. The underwater reefs in Key West are worth exploring, and the perfect way to take a break from the hustle and bustle of Key West.
The real crown jewel of it is Western Sambos, which is the protected sanctuary area. The whole reef is maybe about a quarter long, Western Sambos, but it's got a number of different dive sites that are fantastic, full of diversity.
The Western Sambos Conservation Area covers 16 square miles and boasts the greatest habitat diversity in all of the Keys. Because parts of the reef are at deeper depths, the fragile elkhorn and staghorn coral are actually still extremely healthy, despite harsh ocean temperatures in recent years. This healthy reef is teeming with life.
When we dive the Sambos, it's pretty common for us to see sharks throughout there. Nurse sharks are probably the most common, but we do see quite a lot of Caribbean reef sharks going through there as well. But I have had them literally come up right in front of my face, and for me, that's always a treat.
A favorite dive site in Western Sambos is called Haystacks. Located just a short distance off the coast, this shallow reef is perfect for both snorkelers and scuba divers. The reef is home to vibrant coral gardens, colorful tropical fish, and larger fish species as well. These unique coral formations are a huge draw for visitors to Key West.
We get a lot of diversity from the western side of it to the eastern side of it, from a traditional spur and groove formation, which if you imagine like aisles in a grocery store, that's kind of how the reef is structured on one side. And then you get to the other side, and it's just, we have a spot we call the haystacks, which looks like big stacks of hay.
The marine life that call this reef home aren't going anywhere. They are as comfortable on the reef as the divers. And the resident Goliath grouper won't shy away from the rush of visitors who frequent this reef.
We've got some that are residents that we've given names to, like Gilson, who's one of my favorite ones. He's a big boy. He's probably around the 900-pound range. I love Western Sambos. I could dive that, as far as being in the Keys, I could dive that every single day and be totally happy. I love going out there.
Other two popular dive spots in Key West are Sand Key and Kedge Ledge. Sand Key is located just 7 miles off Key West and is marked by an iron lighthouse. Underwater, the reef ranges from only 5 feet to 20 feet, making it easily accessible for snorkelers and divers alike. Kedge Ledge is one of the most popular reefs in all of Key West. This shallow reef has a maximum depth of only 30 feet and is home to a diverse variety of marine life, such as vibrant tropical fish, lobsters, groupers, rays, and even historical treasures, including coral-encrusted anchors from 18th century ships.
With the number of dive sites we have to choose from, we don't visit the same sites every day. And not visiting the same sites every day takes some of that pressure off the reef with the number of tourists coming down and being congregated on one site.
From dynamic coral gardens to the diverse array of marine life they host, Key West has no shortage of adventure beneath the surface. Whether you're an experienced diver or a beginner, these waters provide a chance to explore one of the planet's most remarkable underwater ecosystems. Thank you for going on this remarkable journey with us. From Key Largo all the way to Key West, the Florida Keys offers a unique underwater paradise filled with vibrant reefs, shipwrecks, and abundant marine life. As you explore these incredible waters, remember, you're not just visiting a beautiful destination, you're part of a movement working to ensure these reefs survive and thrive for generations to come. Let's continue to protect and cherish the oceans we love. I'm Jennifer Gray. Thank you for watching Destination Dive.